Hi friends, it's Angie Power Disney. Baron David Ward is telling me I have to do my homework, I have to do my reading, and I do. I can't rely on him to do everything. I think the point of empowerment is to teach people to do what he's doing. So for any that haven't joined his Facebook group yet, it's called Security by Way of a LIEN, L-I-E-N. And I still have some things to wind up on that, you know, so that I can give it my full attention till this DPP decision comes back. But I will be sort of reading, and I find it easier to read on a screen unless it's a large print book. I've got 2 large print books, one of which is the Bible. And also my heart is always to empower others. If I discover something that I think is powerful, I always want to share it. I just have a natural, it's not a salesman's heart, because I won't share things that I don't believe in. But so anyway, here goes. I'm going to just read a new document that David always said he wouldn't do. So he's piqued my curiosity. Let's see what it is. Share screen. Done. And I think I've got it open. Yeah, here we go. I made it bigger. How to make a LIEN. This is Baron David Ward. I always told myself I would never write this or draft this up in any written format. No one can actually sit down and write up a how-to on the implementation of a LIEN. But everybody wants the exact how-to process, step by step, of how to do a LIEN and how to do that, and to cover all the example with correct context. Then the book would be 3 feet thick and no one would read that book. You have seen in the barrister office, in the moves, the wall of reference law books and case law they have to maintain, and it's a library of written content. That library wall of written content is not chump change. So this is by no means going to cover every aspect in every situation. With an exact worded narrative of every possibility of how to do a LIEN, the task would take a lifetime. We have perfected and published 46 unchallenged and perfected LIENs. These are approximately 140-page A4 legal documents, and that adds up to 18.5 books authored, and I did that inside 2 years. This is Baron David Ward. No published author has ever done this. J.K. Rowling didn't write the 7 Harry Potter books inside 2 years. Actually, I don't think she wrote them at all, but that's a conspiracy theory. Inside 2 years, this took her 7 or more years to write 7 books. No one on the planet has ever written the equivalent of 18.5 books in under 2 years. My bedroom office had 4 desks in it, with me in the middle, spinning around in the computer chair. And one of those 4 desks was just for outgoing post. I was buying A4 printer paper by the box, and every legal document is printed off a minimum of 3 times. I could send out a packet of filled envelopes in a day. I could be working on 6 LIENs at one time on the same day. In that 2-year period, I wore out a professional HP Office laser printer. Wow. Laser printer toner cartridges are not chump change either. We had no experience of ever doing anything like this before. We never had any intention ever in our life of undertaking such a task, and this is a very exact legal process. And if you make a mistake, it will come back and bite you in the ass. So how on earth do you go from 0 to drafting up legal and commercial LIENs, which is a very exact and technical legal process, when you have got no clue on day one? Well, day one is a year or two before you start. The 6 Ps, pre-production preparation, prevents piss poor performance. I think I've heard that before. This is the start of the how-to. You read books about liens. You watch videos on YouTube about liens. There is serious research which takes months, and all that content is necessary and can't be shortcut, and you still haven't read an actual lien for the context and structure. All the research is other people talking about liens. You try and find a published lien so you have reference to context and structure. It's like everyone is talking about how a car engine works, but no one's got the spanners out on video to strip down an engine. There's no workshop manual for a lien, and if you get this wrong, it will bite you in the arse and it will hurt. Get this wrong and you're going to jail for 7 years. Fraud. You are now in the world of the legal liens, and they won't be nice to you. In real terms, don't try and build the power station when you don't have a clue how one works. It will blow up in your face. We are talking real world consequences with a very real 7-year jail sentence. You are in the world of the legal liens, so consider yourself duly warned. Lots of books about liens, lots of videos about liens. Trying to find an actual published lien would be the workshop manual. That would be good if you could find one. We have in this world the best tools on the planet. Google, search engines. Finding an actual lien to read was like trying to find hen's teeth. If I could have found a published library of perfected liens, that would have been the gold mine with the richest vein of gold on the planet. Just finding one was a mammoth task. There is now a library of 46 published and perfected liens I never had. That library of published and perfected liens is a diamond mine with a bag of pristine cut diamonds in it. Not only is this a library of 46 perfected liens, they are also securitized, perfected commercial liens. And nobody has ever securitized a lien into a commercial instrument before. That has never happened in the history of mankind. Wow. Never since the days of Babylon or the Great Library of Alexandria has there ever been a repository of such mammoth proportions. If there were, Google would have found some reference to it. Alexa, and Google came up with a big fat 0. So the 6 Ps, pre-production preparation prevents piss poor performance, came up with a big fat 0. Make no mistake, this is a learning curve, which is very steep. And if you get this wrong, there are consequences. There are 3 different kinds of lien: legal lien, equity lien, and commercial lien. What that means is that someone has created liens to suit their needs in 3 different flavors. So which one do you use? Well, that depends on what you're doing and what the objective of the lien is. You need to know all these flavors and which to use. So you have to cross-reference all 3 to know the difference. Am I going to cover this here? Hell no. That's a book on its own. Someone made all this stuff up. They sat down with the most terrifying thing on the planet, the blank piece of paper. That blank piece of paper will stay blank until you have the knowledge to fill it. From my observations, says Baron David Ward, people think they can just sit down and craft up a 1-document lien and just send it. These people are dangerous and they don't have the faintest clue what a lien is. A lien is not one legal document. It is a record of litigation wrapped up inside an affidavit. A lien is the true court of records, not the county court. The affidavit and the lien is the true court of records. The lien is the litigation. That's the record. An affidavit is by far and without exception the most powerful legal document of all time. An affidavit is a sworn statement of facts under penalty of perjury and full commercial liability. Now, we are deep in the realms of legal words. Liability is commercial contract. This is the power of an affidavit. There is a 28-day window. The recipient of the affidavit has 28 days to challenge the veracity and credibility of the content of the affidavit, which is clearly laid out in numbered points of objectivity. If or when the recipient can or has successfully discredited any one point of that affidavit, then the affidavit is not only in the bin, there will be legal and at least commercial consequences, if not a term in jail for fraud. Now, this is the real power of an affidavit. When the content in point-by-point terms cannot be discredited, then there is a formal agreement between the parties. You now have a formal contract and agreement to the facts, which is immutable, and no judge can touch this. This is more than bulletproof. This is legally indestructible and nuclear bomb proof. This is why lawyers hate you for using them. There is nothing the lawyer can do about it either. There is an untouchable contract of agreement between the parties. This is an out-of-court legal agreement. No disagreement between the parties, and it is a bomb-proof foundation and agreement in fact. This is how powerful an affidavit is, because once that 28 days has expired, you have a commercial agreement that cannot be challenged. I'm not going to finish that sentence, read it for yourselves. This affidavit is the foundation of a lien. So there are two affidavits in a commercial lien. There is the affidavit that creates the agreed foundation in facts, which is the internal affidavit with the immutable and commercial agreement. And there is the overall affidavit, which legally binds the lien inside with the first affidavit of agreed and established facts. Now we have just three parts of the legal and litigated commercial lien. We have not covered the lien itself or the formal notification process or the securitization. A lien is not just a one-off document. It is a sequenced legal process, and a big part of that legal process is the affidavit. The God Almighty indestructible part, and if you don't know the working functions of an affidavit, you don't have a commercial lien. The affidavit is by far the most powerful legal document of all time. Get it wrong and you're in trouble. Get this right and no judge, barrister, lawyer can touch this. This is the power of an affidavit. God is a God of judgment, and he does abide by laws. It's just I'm very sensitive to. I love my Jesus. So let's cover these points again, just because we are a pedantic person. 1, get the affidavit right and you are golden. 2, get the affidavit wrong, you're going to jail for 7 years. 3, send your affidavit, now this is in the UK, to 657 MPs in government, so apply that to whichever country you're working from, who have access to the best barristers and judges on the planet at their fingertips, and you're going to jail for 6,570 years. Now that I don't understand that. I'll just say that again. If you send your affidavit, you're going to jail times 10 to the number of members of parliament you've sent it to. Okay, not sure about that. I've checked that with you, David. All right, so yeah, if you get it wrong, okay, so if you send your affidavit and it's not right, it's not correct, I presume he means, because number 4 says, send your affidavit to X number of members of parliament and government and get it right, and you have 600 or that, whatever number of formal and immutable commercial contracts. So yeah, I think we'll clarify point 3 is if you get it wrong and you dispatch it to your members of Congress or Parliament, the door, whatever. That's the power of an affidavit, and this internal 65-page affidavit is within all 46 published and perfected securitized commercial liens. The affidavit is the commercial contract. So what is a lien? How to do a lien, question mark? Well, this is what you need to know first. This is litigated legal process, and we haven't touched on the lien yet. We haven't gone into any great detail of an established affidavit. The affidavit wording and context is another book. This is a craft, with a C that's spelled, all of its own. It's a craft in language and linguistics, correct grammar and function of words. This is the most powerful legal document on the planet, so you have to get the linguistics and grammar correct. You can't build a power station unless you know how one works. It just can't be done. So what is a lien, question mark? A lien is the formal agreement that there is an unsettled debt. So within the lien agreement, there's the agreement to the unsettled debt. Without the agreement to the unsettled debt, then there is no lien on any agreed assets or future assets to settle that debt. So the lien comes after the formal agreement that there is an unsettled debt and that the lien itself is on the agreed assets and future assets of the debtor. Without all these litigated formal agreements in sequence, there is no lien. A lien can never be a one-off written commercial document. It's a sequence of formal, on-paper documents. Yes, people don't understand the word formal. The word formal is form, paper, form, paper. Written legal proceedings are formal and on paper. It's the legal paperwork that is the court of records. Written words on paper, undersigned by a signature. Without the signature, the words on the paper are just jibber-jabber marks. This is so relevant to court orders, alleged warrants, alleged psych sectioning documents, alleged child stealing documents. This is so important. People forget to look for the signature written with a pen, not a computer graphic. If the signature on a legal document is a computer graphic, that then is material evidence of criminal fraud. If there is no written signature on a legal document with a pen, then that is also criminal fraud by an act of omission. And as far as I know, the first court order to Google had no signature at all. Second one had a signature but no name, no crest, no coat of arms, no seal. Okay, Boolean grammar. Oh my goodness, what drugs is this guy on? What is Boolean grammar? I didn't say that. Boolean has got nothing to do with mathematics. It's a constructive legal language. It's the use of Boolean that creates the formal agreement between the parties. Look, eyes open, for what you did not see in the previous paragraph. There are two words that go unnoticed. Your eye just does not see them because they are the construct of language, not the context or content. The words are if and then. Other Boolean constructivism are and therefore. Yeah, that's often taught biblically as well. In GCSE English grammar, you were told that these are adjoining words to join sentences together. This is because the GCSE or O-level grammar teacher is an idiot. The second reason I just walked out of an adult GCSE grammar lecture by seasoned veteran GCS grammar teacher is because he was speaking French in an adult GCSE grammar tutorial. Yes, we have fools teaching English grammar. Boolean grammar creates absolutes. It locks in formal contract and agreements, and they go unseen to the eye and the mind. Wow. Subliminal. Words and language are tools, and if you don't know or cannot see these tools, you're lost in the woods. So true, because until I showed the legal documents or the illegal documents being sent to me, David straight away spotted what was illegal about them. I hadn't. Right, so if you don't know your Boolean grammar, you can never perfect a commercial lien. Oh, look, there's that word if again, and you still didn't see it. It's a construct in language and the tools of the craft. Make no mistake, this is a craft with a C. I emphasize again, it's not witchcraft. Where was I? Without all these litigated formal agreements in sequence, there is no lien. A lien can never be a one-off written commercial document. It's a sequence of formal, on paper, written legal documents, which when assembled into one big document, you legally bind this with another affidavit, and God Almighty himself will not challenge this. So we need to do a part summary of what we know. 1, affidavits are the power and the keys. You need to know this. I'll say God Almighty won't touch this because God is a very fair and just God. He is. This is why, I won't go into the Bible, but God is a God of justice. I just quote Shakespeare, the quality of mercy is not strained, it droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven, but that's another distraction. 2, there cannot be a lien without the formal agreement to a debt. This comes before the lien. To create these legal agreements, you must implement Boolean grammar. These are the tools. 4, once there is an established agreement to a debt, the lien is on the commercial assets and future commercial assets. There cannot be a lien unless there is an agreement between the parties that there is an unsettled and formally agreed debt. Where there is no, now this is important, where there is no disagreement between the parties, there is no possibility of a disagreement that can be adjudicated by a third party, for instance, a judge. The judge is redundant with no work to do. Bye-bye, Judge. Have a nice day. Where there is no disagreement between the parties, no, I'm not going to read that. Baron David Ward is a very unique person, and I want to be uniquely me, cooperating and learning from him. So why on earth would you need a notary public? The mind boggles in amazement at what people say. Get any of this wrong, you're going to jail for a very long time. You cannot build a power station and you don't know how one works. A lien is a commercial asset. People think that a lien is something to be enforced. Go and get the other guy's stuff. That's not what a lien is. A lien does not allow anyone to use force in any way, to go and use force and take the other guy's stuff. That is the act of a terrorist. Oh, I like that. This is not what a lien is. A lien is not enforceable in any way because there is an agreed debt. A lien is the agreement to a future settlement where there is an agreed debt, an agreed lien on future assets. It's interesting. A lien is a commercial asset to the agreed value, which is immutable, and there's no disagreement between the parties. This is what a lien is. Nothing more, nothing less. A lien is not a securitized commercial instrument which can be cashed in. A lien does not fulfill that function as a lien. A commercial lien is an asset. It's not a commercial instrument. These two things are not the same. You cannot make apple pie out of bananas. Can a lien be securities as a commercial instrument? Yes. Wow. See, this is. There is only one person that could do this, and that is the debtor. Only the debtor can securitize the lien and stand as the surety. So it's like, am I right? Is it like a guarantor? No one else is involved. There is no one else that can stand as the surety other than the debtor to make an asset, lien, into a securitized commercial instrument. There are two words here that are not the same: commercial asset and commercial instrument. These two things are not the same, but they can be combined where the commercial asset is also the commercial instrument. This has never been done before, going all the way back to Babylon, but there's no reason why not. So what is a commercial instrument? Bonds, pledges, and securitized commercial documents are all commercial instruments. This is how new money is made. Forget everything you've been told about banks making money out of fresh air. It's all about signed documents and who signs them with a signature and who stands as the surety. The bank is just a vehicle. The bank is the special purpose vehicle. The bank is a vehicle of transference, and that's all a bank is. Yeah, I used to work for BCCI, Bank of Credit and Commerce International, in the late 70s. I didn't know it was a CIA-funded money laundering operation, but that's beside the point. But I worked in customer services, but I would be around the banking stuff sometimes, and they would have a letter of credit. And I remember also the telex operator, a lovely young lad, about 20, I don't know what age he was, 20 maybe. And his first payslip was a bit of paper, and he had us in stitches. He said, how am I going to take that to the pub? It wasn't a check, and it wasn't cash. It was so hilarious. But it's the simplicity that is often most accurate. Okay, what is a bond? A bond is paper with words and numbers and a signature, brackets, surety. That bond is placed in a bank account, brackets, commercial vehicle, has cleared funds, ready cash, because a bond is a commercial instrument. What is a pledge? A pledge is paper with words and numbers and a signature, bracket, surety. That pledge is placed in a bank account, a commercial vehicle, as cleared funds, ready cash. Wow, even a pledge. I suppose that's like a guarantor. What is a securitized commercial instrument? Every bank loan is a securitized commercial instrument. Words and numbers on paper with a signature, bracket, surety, placed on account in a bank account, brackets, commercial vehicle, as clears funds, ready cash. This is how all cash is created by the banks, in the banks. The bank is just the commercial vehicle. There is an ex-mortgage advisor from Santander Bank, Simon Goldberg, on YouTube, who has confirmed in one of his YouTube videos that the bank loan document is a securitized commercial instrument which creates the cleared funds or cash. There is not only Simon Goldberg, God Almighty, that knows what a securitized commercial instrument is. I also know that, as I am my Microsoft certified systems engineer who has built the computer systems for banks, government, and the Ministry of Defense. Well, if Simon Goldberg said so, it must be God's law. I don't give two hoots what Simon Goldberg said. The facts are the facts, and the facts are God's law. People will still ask, where does the money come from then? Well, there it is. Bonds, pledges, and securitized commercial instruments. That's where the money comes from. By the wand of the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword. How hard is this? Words on paper, and every pen is a magic without this K at the end, so we're not talking dark arts here. A magic wand pen. 7+ billion people have hands that can use the pen. So this is the how-to, step-by-step process on how to do a lien, and the rest is in the 46 published files, which are equal to 18.5 books. The library of the profound that has never existed since Babylon, preserved for all times in digital, PDF format. Burn that library down if you can. It's all backed up in more places than I can remember or know about. And that's the How to Create a Lien by Baron David Ward. And I'll just show you, I should have showed you the Facebook group before I stopped the share. Security by way of a lien. Okay, down with that. Not that, what's that? Sorry, I just wanted to, here we are, Facebook, right? Oops, just get rid of that. Thank you. Here we are. Here's the group. I've made it all big because of my eyesight. I do have sympathy for people like myself with eyesight issues. So this is the group, security by way of a lien, public group. So either friend request Baron David Ward on Facebook, or just go and join the group, and he'll notice and he'll welcome you. Might just invite a couple of people. Anyway, that's beside the point. There we are, Baron David Ward. Created security by way of lien in 2015. Stop share. Okay, that's it, guys. I'll send this for approval and carry on with my reading when I've tied up my loose ends and helped my son fill out a form and normal everyday things. God bless. AngelaSCashes.org, Angela Power Disney on Facebook and YouTube.